Hey, Philo71, I just tried to record a video to respond to your video. Um, your video is 5 questions every intelligent atheist should ask themselves, and I found that I had about 6 pages of notes I generated from watching your video, and I was only able to get through 1 page for 10 minutes. So I'm going to talk a lot faster, and I'm going to be looking down at my notes, and I'm not going to be able to be as detailed, because if I am more detailed, it's going to bore the listeners, and there's a lot to get through. The problem is that you make so many assumptions, and you have so many misunderstandings about science, evolution, atheism, and the scientific study of morality that it would take a video almost an hour long to even explicate in any meaningful way just how much misunderstanding you were able to cram into a 7-minute video. The first thing that you did is you said that we needed to give responses that were intuitive and consistent with reality, and I thought that was very telling, because whose perception of reality? Because you don't seem to be understanding that intuition is not an adequate way to know reality. So I thought that was very telling. The first thing that you do is you asked about chance, and you wanted to know whether, do atheists believe in that things are just happening by chance? And you need to understand that evolution has nothing to do with chance. Evolution has to do with natural selection. Natural selection is not chance. This is a very common religious reaction to the world. You remove religion, which is very, very rigid, and it makes people feel that if religion is removed, that everything is effectively random. There's nothing random about evolution. If you have an organism, you put an organism in an environment, there are predictable ways in which that organism will evolve and adapt to that environment, and if they can't, they will die. That is not chance. That is, in fact, a very ironclad kind of thing that can be seen in a laboratory and can be discussed, but it doesn't have much to do with spinning a roulette wheel. Has nothing to do with randomness. You said, why should there be something instead of nothing? You need to understand that the way that we scientists, and I am a scientist, I'm a psychologist, a professor with a doctoral degree, and also a psychotherapist. The way we respond to a question like that from a scientific perspective is to let you know that the question is a meaningless question. You might as well be asking me, why aren't squares round, and why aren't circles square? The fact that the universe exists, the fact that existence exists, has to do with the definition of the word. Even if we were to beg the question and decide that that was a meaningful question, it doesn't change the fact that science is the only way to truth, and that the scientific method hasn't worked to give us truth. Just because we have gaps in our knowledge and we may not know how everything began doesn't mean that we don't know what's going on right now, or what has in fact been going on for quite some time. So that's a meaningless question, and I don't think that it's very pertinent, and I don't think you understand just how meaningless of a question that is. Secondly, you said that atheists as rational animals with no higher purpose in life. That's a very offensive and insulting statement, and it makes an assumption about atheists. The idea that if one does not have a Christian worldview, that suddenly one has no higher purpose. In fact, the thought that goes through atheists' mind is, what is it with these Christians? Do they have no higher purpose that makes them want to believe in nonsense so that they can adapt one? Why can't they come up with a higher purpose on their own like everybody else? So the statement is very, very telling again. The idea being, if you don't have a Christian worldview, you don't have a higher purpose. Somehow your life doesn't have any kind of concepts or ideas or running assumptions about things that guide you in your life. In fact, we do. We're just guided by decidedly very different ideas about the universe than you do. You just don't comprehend them, and therefore you can't recognize them as being as valid as your own. Again, you said that the cosmos exists for no reason. You use that as a quotation. That is another bizarre thing. Scientists believe that the cosmos does exist for a reason. It just doesn't exist for a Christian reason, it exists for other reasons. I realize that those reasons are not recognizable to you as reasons, but they are reasons. The cosmos is here and does what it does for very specific scientific reasons. The idea that the universe is here for no reason, if it doesn't have some kind of moral connection to something, if it is not somehow in the context of some religious worldview, I think is showing just how much you need to think more imaginatively about the way that the universe can be perceived by multiple perspectives, and Christianity is only one very narrow perspective. People who have a scientific, atheistic, or other type of agnostic worldview have a very good idea of why the universe is here and see the universe as having a purpose, just not the same purpose you do. Another thing that you talk about is that the world seems fixed to make life possible. No, if I walk out in the street and I see $2 in the street, I don't assume that the $2 was there because I happen to be thirsty. The $2 is simply there. Life is on this planet because the planet just happens to be in the right place at the right time with the right attributes to have life. If there are other planets in the same situation, there will be life. There isn't any necessity in noticing that to say that it was fixed by something. Just because $2 is in the street doesn't mean someone put it there. It could have been dropped there. It could be any number of reasons. You say that that the universe bears a mark of intelligent design. No, it doesn't. Where are you getting this from? It's like this fell out of your butt or something. The universe is in fact a very messy place. If you were to imagine a universe created by a god, if you sat down and said, I think I'll create a universe, and I'm going to make it perfect, wonderful, good place because I'm a merciful God and I can do anything so it can be anything I want, you'd come up with a universe far more ordered, far more predictable than the one we're in. The universe we're in is very violent, and things seem to happen for no moral purpose. They seem to happen for other purposes having to do with natural laws. The idea that this universe has the mark of some kind of intelligence is bizarre. It doesn't. It seems to be running on its own, and it doesn't seem to really give a shit about our existence. I don't think that that's necessarily a negative thing or necessarily a good thing, but the idea that the universe and the evidence of the universe seems to give the sense that it is run by an intelligence. All I can say is this is God's idea of a wonderful universe and the best universe he could come up with. I think this was his first try because if he's a God that can do everything and he's all merciful and everything, this is a pretty sucky universe under those circumstances. You said that the world has something called moral order. No, the world does not have anything called moral order. Where are you getting that from? What does that even mean, moral order, in quotation marks? People are moral because they're genetically geared to be that way. They're genetically geared to do things that lead to, as you've said, lead to the perpetuation of our species. You talked about where do you get your morals from? Well, we get our morals from the same place that everybody else gets their morals from. We get it from our own emotional reactions to reality and from our social interactions and discussions with other people. This leads to things and discussions of moral contracts, of feeling one with other people, seeing other people hurting and not wanting them to hurt and feeling like we're a lot like them. Natural concepts like empathy and sympathy. These are where we get our moralities from. Religion gets its morality from us. We don't get our morality from religion. If religion can act as a way, as a conduit to take the moral ideas of one generation and give it to the next, that's a wonderful thing. But you need to understand that those moral ideas were infused into that religion from people to begin with. We get our morality from ourselves, and our religion gets its morality from us. So we get our morality as atheists from the same place that you do. We just get it firsthand from ourselves rather than getting it spoon-fed to us from other people who had to go through the same process that we atheists go through in order to morally figure these things out. Now, this is the end of part 1. I'm about at 9 minutes. I can't believe how fast the time goes. But I'm going to have to make a part 2. And I again apologize for being long-winded. But this is the end of part 1. And Mr. Philos, I will get back to you in just a second.